This is Miss Lizzie, and I want to welcome you to the Queen Lizzie podcast. Together, we will go through the history of Rosewood, Florida, and watch as the once prosperous town rises out of the bloodshed, fire, and ash to reveal the people, the memory, and the legacy of Rosewood. Watch every Thursday on Facebook and YouTube, or listen to our story on Apple or Google Podcasts, Spotify, iHeartRadio, or wherever you find your favorite podcasts. Hello, everybody. I am Lizzie Robinson Jenkins, representing not only the Rosewood Foundation, but the personal testimonies and history of cherished friends and family. You are now watching the Queen Lizzie podcast. Today, we're talking with Kim A. Barton. Welcome, Kim.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
You are welcome. I am honored to have you, and I want people to know that you have represented Alachua County as the supervisor of election for 30 plus years. And I will allow you to introduce yourself and tell us about who you are.
Yes. Well, I have been with the elections office for 31 years. I was elected supervisor of elections in 2016 after being in the office for 23 years. I worked a lot in the community as director of outreach, enjoyed that, educating our citizens and our students and working with seniors. So I had the opportunity to go into the community as well as, prepare people for elections. So that was a great opportunity, and having to learn everything in the office.
Yes.
And so when the former supervisor of elections, Pam Carpenter, retired, I made the decision. I had former supervisor of elections, Beverly Hill, come to me and say, you need to run for office, and there were so many others. So I made the decision after prayerfully considering it with my husband, and so I decided to run. And so the voters of Alachua County elected me overwhelmingly in 2016 to serve, and that's how I see myself, as a servant to the voters and citizens of Alachua County. When I hear the word politicians, a lot of times it kind of hits a nerve with me, because I don't see myself as a politician. I see myself as a servant, serving the people and doing the people's business. So I have, for the last 8 years, been supervisor of elections, and we've done a lot of great things to bring the office up in terms of technology, in terms of process, and in terms of accessibility.
Yes.
And so we've implemented a lot of new things. We have expanded early voting.
Absolutely.
When I came in, we had 3 early voting sites.
Yes.
We have 8 early voting sites, so across the county. So we've expanded early voting. Also, we went to a ballot on demand system where voters can get their ballot printed right in front of them, no longer pulling ballots. So that was a great thing. And then we brought in the electronic poll book, no longer checking voters in, where they sign in on a paper poll register. That's 100-year-old process. So we've done quite a few things. One of the things when we came to office was, we really promoted vote by mail.
Yes.
And paid for the return postage on that as well. So we tried to find things that will make it so much easier for voters to be able to cast their vote. So we are always looking to improve.
Yes.
And we never, rest on our laurels.
Absolutely.
We always look to improve, and so we will continue to do that. But we're excited. We are preparing for the upcoming election on November 5th.
Yes.
And there will be so many races on the ballot, starting with the highest office in the land, But what I want people to know is there's so many important local elections. Sometimes, I see where people will come and vote every 4 years, and their interest is just on the president.
On the president.
But there are local elections that are so crucial. These are the folks that are making decisions about your day to day. And so it's so crucial, it's so important that voters make their voice heard in those elections.
Absolutely. And I'm not going to repeat anything you have said. If y'all want to hear it again, then you need to listen to the podcast a second time, because what she is saying is very important. She is talking, but I understand because I have lived what you are talking. I remember Beverly Hill very well. I remember her dedication, her involvement, her community outreach. What she taught you is what you are doing. And that is important. And I know she was very, very, very proud of you. She encouraged you. I remember.
Yes, she did.
I was there. I was the precinct chair. I have been in voting, and my parents involved us in voting ever since we were old enough to vote. I have voted, I'm thinking maybe 60 times, never missed, even if it was one person on the ballot, I voted. I have not missed.
Yes.
And my mother taught her grandchildren to do the same. And today they vote because they're afraid not to.
Yes.
If I find out, I'm going to be very, very on their case.
Yeah.
And they know it. So when it's time for election, they'll call and say, Auntie, I need to know who to vote for. And I always encourage them, you need to read. Okay, but Auntie, I don't have time. You do have time. And I'm not going to know who to vote for if you don't tell us. So what I end up doing to make sure they vote, and I know it's not right, I'll take a picture and I'll send it to them. And they'll send it to their cousins and friends. But anyway, they are voting. And I know that is not the right thing to do. Because I do, like I say, I encourage them to read. And but to make sure they vote, I will send them a copy, which is wrong, but they're getting that vote out there. And like you said, recently at our August election, I was really disappointed. We did not get out to vote.
That's right. The turnout, I think it was a 22% turnout. We weren't the lowest in the state, but it wasn't anything to be proud of, for sure.
Exactly.
But I think it would be quite different with this election. There's so much on the ballot that is going to bring people out, and folks are very passionate about. Not only do we have candidate races, we have constitutional amendments on there.
Exactly.
We have two local, we have, of course, the single member district that's going to be on that for county voters to decide.
Tell us about single member district, because people don't understand it in at large.
Well, at large is every voter in Alachua County gets to vote on all candidates.
Yes.
Single member district is they're voting for those that are just those that live in that district.
Yes.
So, there's, people that are for that and people that are against that. And so it's going to be an opportunity for Alachua County voters to make that decision.
To hear our voice.
As well, there will be the GRU making the decision. City of Gainesville, if you live in the city of Gainesville, the GRU, whether it returns back, to the board under the control of the board or not, so that decision will be made. Also, there'll be High Springs has some candidates for their elections or for their commission, as well as they have some amendments as well for them.
The same day?
On the same ballot.
Really?
But there's a Senate race. There's, depending on where you live.
Okay.
You'll have Senate races, House races. You'll have county commission races. You'll have the sheriff race. You'll have the supervisor of elections race as well, and so there's so many for folks to vote on, and it's very important that you really take your time and really study the issues. And of course, we don't tell people how to vote. Exactly. We just want them to exercise their right and do that. And so, democracy is about you making your choice,
Exactly.
And so we're excited about this election. We've been preparing for this election. We've been training our election workers. I think we're right now going on our 4th week.
Okay.
And it's a lot of work to put an election together. But the deadline for registering to vote is coming up. October 7th is the deadline, so we want to make sure that if you're not registered to vote, or even if you're not sure you're registered to vote, check it. Go to registertodvoteflorida.org. I'm sorry, .gov.
Okay.
So we've changed it. So or you can go to votealachua.gov. So check your status if you're not sure. It's very important. Do not wait till the last minute.
Right.
So the deadline is coming up, or you can, if you want to call our office to check as well, you can do that. We're going to be open October 7th.
Okay.
So you can come into the office. We're probably expecting a lot of people to come down to register to vote in person, but just make sure you spread the word. That is the deadline. We'd hate to see someone really wanting to vote in the election and they miss the deadline, but that is very crucial. The upcoming deadline is coming up real soon.
And now is the perfect time to bring you in. So I brought you in not because you are what are you, a candidate, but because you are the current supervisor of election. It couldn't have happened at a better time for you to come in and explain and share with us what you're sharing with us about deadlines, and places to vote and addresses, contact information. This is very important. And I also would like to know, because I'm interested in making donations, I'd like to know the deadline to donate to a candidate.
Let's see. If I remember correctly, I think they cannot accept a donation 5 days before the election.
Okay.
So I think that's what it is for sure.
So let's do it late October.
Yeah. I'm sure candidates would appreciate getting contributions as soon as possible. One of the things I forgot to mention, that the one meal, the school board has placed the one meal on the ballot as well, and so voters will be deciding whether to extend that again. And as I can't say one way or the other, because we're nonpartisan in my office. We don't tell people how to vote. We get asked questions all the time, but we don't do that. Even when we do training, I always start out with training and telling everyone we must remain nonpartisan.
Exactly. And my foundation is nonpartisan, and I am speaking as Lizzie, not as my Rosewood Foundation. I'm talking to you from my experience as a voter, because many people died for the right to vote. It is, especially our ancestors, they could not vote. However, my grandfather was born in 1868, and he voted here in Alachua County in 1890 with Josiah T. Walls. That movement. Yes. Josiah was something else.
Yes, he was.
And I am going to, this is kind of like off the subject, but I want you all to know that I am trying to establish a Josiah T. Walls Day. And I'm going to need help later. He was important. He taught school in Archer, and I am from Archer. My Rosewood Foundation is going to be in Archer, and I have an event coming up on October 13th, which is on a Wednesday night, and right here where we are today doing this podcast, we are going to celebrate my birthday, which is a fundraiser for the museum that we are building in Archer. And as I said, it's October 23rd in the Visor rooftop right here. So come out, Bring lots of money, have lots of fun. It's going to be a bash, okay? And we're looking forward to as many people as possible. Go to my website, rosewoodflorida.com. That's Rosewood, FLORIDA.com. Donate, purchase your ticket at Eventbrite. The address is on my website, or you can find the address at my Facebook, Lizzie Robinson Jenkins. Okay, and order your ticket. We will be expecting you. Okay, and you will get an opportunity to network as a candidate also. There will be other candidates here, Republicans, Independents, and Democrats, because Rosewood, the foundation, the museum is non-political, so we are accepting money from everyone, okay? That's about time for our first half. We are going to head to a quick break, and we'll be right back after a word from our sponsors.
Meldon Law has been serving personal injury victims since 1971. In those days, Jeffrey Meldon's presence as an attorney in the music scene dubbed him with the nickname the Hippie Attorney. And although times have changed, two things haven't: our commitment to bettering our community by helping the injured,
Albert, are you ready to go to the game?
and our love for the Florida Gators.
If you bleed orange and blue, Meldon Law is the firm for you.
I am Black History.
I am Rosewood Black History.
I am Florida and America's Black History.
And you are too.
January 1st, 1923, the KKK insurrectionists attacked Rosewood, killing 5, burning it down.
Because a white woman lied and cried, a black man assaulted me. Rosewood redevelopment is on its way.
Want to help? Visit rosewoodflorida.com.
Welcome back to Queen Lizzie Podcast, brought to you weekly from the Steve Spurrier Podcast Room at Spurrier's Gridiron Grill. We are here with Kim A. Barton. The Queen Lizzie Podcast is brought to you by Campus USA Credit Union, live from the Meldon Law Gator Studios at Spurrier's Gridiron Grill. Okay, we are back with Kim Barton, the supervisor of election for 8 years, and we are going to review what we have talked about. Okay. And I want to, my first question is vote by mail. I have not received my ballot.
Okay.
However,
yes, vote by mail has started going out in the mail. I've heard from a lot of people that they received their ballot. So anyone can request a vote by mail ballot. You don't have to give us a reason. And so just make your request. You can go to votealachua.gov as well. You can call our office, or, it's so easy to request it. And so once you request it, we'll fulfill the requests as we receive them. Now, if you have not received your ballot yet, if you could probably wait toward the end of the week, if you hadn't received it, give our office a call at 352-374-5252. The deadline to request a vote by mail ballot is October 24th at 5 p.m. So we really encourage you to make your request as soon as possible. Now, if you've received a ballot and you know your signature has changed, because we have to compare your signature to what you signed on the back of the certificate. So if you know that it has changed, you want to update your signature, because we have to compare your signature from the certificate to what is on file. So if you know it's changed over the years, or you've had an injury and it's changed, we encourage you to update it. Now, we do need, how you update it is on a voter registration application form. You can come to the office to do that, and or you can download a form from votealachua.gov, fill it out, bring it in, or mail it in. But if you're going to use that ballot, we have to receive your updated signature before we received your ballot. So we need that first. But make sure, just check it. If you requested it and you haven't received it, wait till the end of the week. Give us a call and we'll check it. Also, I want to tell you that early voting will start October 21st.
Okay.
And we'll go through November 3rd. We will have 2 Sundays of early voting. This will be the first time. So we're going to have all the optional days and all the mandatory days. So, Election Day is not the only day to vote.
Okay.
Voting has actually started.
Wonderful.
So voting has started. We always encourage people not to, you don't have to wait till Election Day.
Yes.
But there are 8 early voting sites across the county. And early voting will be from 9 a.m. to 6 p.m. at all locations. And so please know it's available. You don't have to wait till Election Day to vote. You can get it out of the way.
Yes.
And also, for those that vote by mail, doing early voting, we have a secure ballot intake station where you can drop your ballot, your mail ballot that you want counted. You can drop it at the secure ballot intake station where we'll have 2 election workers monitoring the station. So, and of course, Election Day, November 5th. Polls are open at 7 a.m. and polls close at 7 p.m. Now, if you're in line by 7 p.m., no matter how long the line is, if you're in line by 7, you'll have the opportunity to vote. So don't worry. But we always, I always say Florida is so easy. They've made it so easy. You have 3 options to vote. Yes. And so it's whatever your preference is.
Absolutely. And I want you all to know, I want you to speak on the security. I heard this was a conversation and someone said, well, if the signature has changed a little, who is going to determine the authenticity of it? And you do have more than one person.
Yes.
Speak to that for me.
Once the ballot comes in, of course, we have chain of custody.
Yes.
We track everything, and voters can track their ballot too online. They can every step they can track it. Okay. And so we have chain of custody. We have security measures in place. Now I can't tell you all the security measures because I'll be giving it away.
Right.
But we once the ballot comes in. It is checked in, and we look at the signature on file.
Yes.
And if it has the first pass with my staff, then it goes forward. If we don't think it's a match, we notify the voter. Of course, we have to notify the voter, and we give them an opportunity to cure their ballot.
Perfect.
Okay.
That's what I was.
And so,
about.
Even we get ballots in. Voters have 2 days after the election to cure their ballot.
Perfect.
So they have that opportunity, and we go through all kind of measures trying to reach out to voters. I mean, I've even driven by their home when we couldn't get in contact with them because we want to make sure their vote counts.
This is important.
It's very important. So even if voters end up voting, provisional ballots, they have an opportunity as well. So, but as I said, there's so much security in place. Our voting equipment is not connected to the internet. You hear that all the time. We don't modem in our results anymore. And so we used to do that years ago, and that's just not a good system for us any longer. We want to get home at some reasonable hour at night. When we used to modem in, we'd be waiting on a precinct. They couldn't modem, and just the change in technology. And so we decided that, no, we're not going to modem in. We have people, staff driving in our the information that we need to upload. So always know there are things that are in place for election security, and it's very important to us.
It's very important to us.
Yes, the integrity of the election.
Exactly.
Yes.
That's
Yes.
important. And voting is the most important, one of the most important initiatives that maybe initiative is not the right term, but it's important
Yes.
because we are protecting, hopefully, our democracy.
Yes.
That is important, especially this year. We need to please vote, y'all. Vote for you. Every time I vote, my great grandmother walked from Jackson, Mississippi, enslaved, born in 1823. The two things she wanted to do more than anything else in her life when she was grown enough to share with her children and grandchildren, she wanted to vote and she wanted an education. She did not receive either. So when I graduated from college, I said to her, she was no longer alive, but I said, this degree is for you, Grandma Julianne. And every time I vote, I say to her, this vote is for you. So they're no longer here, but they paved the way for us. You may not be
Yes.
able to see it, but we can feel it.
Yes.
I know Kim and I, because Kim went through this. I heard her speak last night, and she talked about voting
My
in
parents.
Tennessee
Yes.
with your parents. They
Yes.
took you to vote. That's what our parents did.
Yes.
They took us to vote.
And it's almost like I feel I've gone full circle.
Yes.
Because my parents, when we were growing up, 60s,
Yes.
they would go door to door. You know,
Yes.
they would give rides to the polls. They would
Yes.
encourage voters, and it was instilled in me early how important it was.
Yes, yes.
And so I just, to be in this position today,
Exactly.
You're
You're living your dream.
yes, and you talk about you're voting in honor.
Yes.
And I think that's
Yes.
with the young people. I
Yes.
always say vote in honor of those who have died and who sacrificed. And we do a lot of outreach with our high schools.
Yes.
And a lot of outreach with the University of
The
Florida,
Florida,
and Santa
right.
Fe. And so we're always reaching out. And I think education is the key to this whole thing. One of the things that we always do, we make sure we send educational materials,
Yes.
direct mail, to households, voters, where voters are. And so we're sending out, of course, our sample ballots. And we want folks to know that they can bring their sample ballots with them.
Uh-huh.
Already, kind of already know who you're going to vote for when you come to
Right.
vote. You've already studied.
Yes.
The ballot. Bring your sample ballot with you. You can bring it in the polling room with you. It's just when you leave, you have to take it. You
With
can't
you.
leave it in there. But we're going to be doing, sample ballots. We're doing a preparedness guide that's going to be coming out.
Wonderful.
And I think it's like a 8-page. Anything you want to know about the election, what's going to be on the ballot, voter registration, just all types of information, just wealth of information, because we want our voters to be educated on the process. And so we're sending out an early voting flyer with pictures of all the early voting sites and the information of when is early voting, the hours of early voting, the secure ballot intake station, where those are going to be. So, we want our voters to be prepared.
Wonderful. Absolutely. Because it is so important.
Yes,
So important that they are educated.
Yes.
And education is the key.
it is the key.
It is the key. And we all hold that key to education. We got to, and when I said that, if you don't hold that key, it's your fault. So let's get that key and unlock our voting doors.
Yes.
Make sure we vote. It is so important to me. I become a different citizen, a different person when it's time to vote. I have pictures. I have my mom's casket on my Facebook, and on there it says Rosewood Historian. Okay, and it tells you when she voted and how she voted. It's on there. I have her grandchildren saying to you, vote. It is so important. Because my mom, as I said, my mom was and still is my mentor,
Yeah.
my best loved friend that thought I could do anything. And she gave me an assignment that I'm still working on today, and that's the Rosewood history. It's not easy, but I am so fortunate to have so many people out there that's listening to me that want to be a part of my truth. Rosewood is not about me. It's about history. It's not about Black history. It's about Americans' history. And all of us have an opportunity to play a part in my upcoming birthday bash, wherein I am going to raise funds. Not I, we are going to raise funds to build a museum in Archer that represents the hardship and the ugly history that I tell so positively. And I think that's part of my following. People like to hear my story. And I do not accuse anyone, even the people that was responsible for what happened in 1923. I don't accuse them, okay? I embrace them. I tell history positively because history is who we are. Without history, we are nothing. And I know that's why people support my program, because I encourage them.
Yeah.
And I make them a part of this history. And we're going to make this birthday bash big time. Kim is going to be there.
Of course. So if I just want to say one last parting thing. It's going to be a busy election.
Yes, it is.
And so we ask that those who come, there may be lines,
Yes.
But be patient.
Yes.
We'll we're training our workers to move voters through the line as fast as we can. But as I said before, you don't have to wait till November 5th.
Right.
You can vote early.
Yes.
And you can vote by mail. So it is your choice, but we're excited. This elections is what we do. So we've been planning, we've been preparing. So we look forward to seeing voters come out and vote.
Perfect. And I am the precinct chair in Archer. I will be there, volunteer all day. I will be there to help, to assist. If y'all have questions, please ask questions. I will be there. And I'm going to close with my special note to rosewoodflorida.com. Please go there, visit us. Even when we are no longer on this show, just visit. I'm sending out a birthday month-long invite tomorrow on my Facebook. And I want him to know that I certainly have enjoyed your company. You are always welcome back.
Thank you.
To talk about anything.
Right.
Of voting, we will not leave that out.
That's right.
Okay.
Most
Remember,
important.
Most important. Remember, November 5th, all day, the polls are open from
7 a.m. to 7 p.m.
That's our story. Okay. I am continuously humbled, honored, and blessed to meet people daily and invite them to join in peace building, healing, and reconciliation through learning about the history of Rosewood. That will wrap up today's episode. I am Queen Lizzie. Until next time, this is my story, and I approve this message. Goodbye.